Test, test. Microphone's good. Maybe too loud.
See?
Thank you for asking. Yes.
Morning, team. Thanks for breakfast, Patrick and Movement Mortgage. Everyone here knows Patrick and Movement, right? Familiar faces here. It's 8 o'clock. We have a class starting at 8 o'clock. Shall we get started? You still carrying that thing around in the box?
Yes.
Did you at least take the plastic cellophane off? In the middle of an appointment yesterday, about 10 minutes in, my battery died. So I had to go.
Technology problems.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need one of those like massive USB hubs that just charge 15 things at a time. All right, so we threw out the video of the Gary Keller Inman Connects interview. Did you guys watch that?
Yes.
Yes?
No.
No?
No.
Gary Keller Inman Connects? Who said yes? Raise your hands. Who said no? Who said what video?
I read it.
I read the article. I just didn't watch the video yet.
Okay, so on top of that, what else would you guys like to address this morning? Nothing? Nothing. Morning, sir.
Morning.
So everyone's kind of just here for the show, right? Whatever it takes. What did we talk about last week? Who was here last week? What did we talk about?
Forever.
The Babylon.
Go back to all of your notes you took at last
Right,
week's
yeah.
session.
Richest man of Babylon.
That's
and,
it.
That's right.
How many transactions we need to earn the amount that we want for that year.
Awesome. So we kind of referenced, it's funny that was the pilot, and that was like probably the last 4 minutes we talked about Richest Man of Babylon. A lot of it was budgeting, a lot of it was the shift, focusing on the shift book, how extremely relevant it is now again. We have a shift series coming in September, not a shift series, a shift class with James Shaw in September. James is top or the top, or one of the top, arguably, bowl coaches. His ability to command a room in a very, I feel like you're talking to me way, yet he can talk to lots of people. So our goal is that we'll host it in-house here. There's a larger demand that we might outgrow this space. So just stay tuned to us for where it will be. It will be in September. So keep in mind that's going to be shift. It would be a better experience for you if you get the book before you go to the class. So if you need the shift book, do we have some in stock, Jessica?
Just one, but I'll order.
Okay, so we'll get some in stock. And we're probably going to include, because there is a price, because James makes a living off of teaching, the sales price will include a book. So maybe if you get one in advance, then we'll just make that a reduction of sales price. So we'll figure that out, make a win. Who's made change in their thoughts, behaviors, budgets since last week? Effective training is when you leave and make a change.
So I'm just trying to keep track of like where I'm at, especially with my move from being in the middle of Riker. I'm going to go to that profit and loss class, just to try to get myself on track with the whole budgeting and knowing where my business.
Profit and loss class, is that Jen's financial class?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, finance committee.
Yep.
But just trying to learn that, I've got to be consistent in putting money back into my business. I got that point from last week.
Okay.
Just you've got to set that aside and keep your business growing. And so I'm really bad about just winging it and going by referral all the time.
So reinvest the business, reinvest the business.
Yeah.
Yep.
And systematize.
Yeah, as soon as you put money in the business account, you emotionally detach yourself from it. Because don't we spend business money very different than we spend human money?
Yeah.
Right? Like for me to go pay $200-300 for a subscription or send out postcards, like cool. For me to spend $200-300 for a night out for dinner is like I can't do this. It's painful. So when you detach it and say this is not the business's money, it's not mine. I had an appointment yesterday with a guy, and the budget was $90,000 of expenses for him to hit his goal. I just saw some eyeballs go up, right? And his goal is to close 57 homes, which is a pretty big business, yet it's not massively massive. $90,000 is a lot. We break that down if we think about, and this is just be a recap, if we think about the richest man in Babylon with the 70, 10, 10, 10, essentially this was a 90,000, right? So as a recap, what are these? What's this 10?
Save.
Save.
Save, not for the business. For the personal, yes. We tweaked it. This is a realtor's richest man in Babylon. If you look at the budget model, it kind of has 3 chunks.
Leverage.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Leverage is about 10%, and we'll just say about for all these, right?
Yep.
What else?
Lead gen.
Lead gen,
Operations.
operations. And so really it's going $30,000, $30,000, $30,000. Now I said, is an assistant for $30,000 that unrealistic for this guy? 57 units, probably gonna need that, right?
Definitely.
Is a lead gen budget of about $2,200 a month. It's not a whole lot in the grand scheme of closing that out, right? And then running the business, including everything from gas to marketing to e-keys to board dues to listing panels to flyers would be over here. Travel, education, make sense? So it kind of just adds up.
And that math works because if you take the 90,000 or the, what did he say, marketing budget? Oh, 90,000, divide that over 50 units, roughly,
Mhm.
it's about $1,800. That's what, a quarter of your average commission?
So taking 90, well, that ends up being a 30, yeah,
Yeah.
it's about a third.
That math works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's about a third.
Yep.
As your operating expense, so.
Yep.
So this would be a good habit. Who's got a closing coming up in the next 30 days? Couple hands, half the room. I would encourage you to attempt that. At least think about it and see how far you can go. And maybe you start with an 85,555 if you've been doing nothing. Start with something, and that includes your personal life as well. All right, so we're going to talk on the Gary Keller Inman. A couple of you had no idea what I'm talking about. And so we'll recap it. Gary Keller's vision speech from Family Reunion. Does that familiarize yourself a little bit? So what did you guys get, those of you who are familiar with what his vision of the shift that's coming, what's going on? And I'm going to repeat you for the live streamers right now. How many do we have live?
6.
6 live streamers, so
Uh,
you're not mic'd up.
Tech and owning our own data.
So a lot of it is, the data, technology and owning your own data. That's a lot of what he sees as the changing of the guards, right? What else?
An integrated cloud and artificial intelligence.
AI plus data is kind of that shift, is that next revolution. And then how can we do that with that integrated cloud so that the servers can handle it and it all talks to each other? Because the cloud, I've got a virtual assistant and then she's from a different country and we can be on the same exact spreadsheet, the same exact time, having real life conversations. That's what cloud enables, is data to be shared. Yeah.
Because then, like, the agent, Gary wants the agency enabled by tech versus the tech enabled by agents.
Yep. You watched the video.
That's the battle. I did.
Yeah, as I say, that's pretty much precisely what he drew there. So, essentially, he says in the good old-fashioned business. Let me see if I should have reviewed this because I watched it about a week ago. You got hardware plus software. And which one's worth more?
Software.
The software's worth more, right? That's where he says IBM made the catastrophic
Right.
mistake of giving Microsoft the software and they wanted the computer and the computer got outdated. What was the third one? There is
Your computer easier to
Public file.
use.
it wasn't there yet.
Can scan this automatically.
She's watching the video right now. She's going to tell us.
No. Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. The fourth generation, or the fourth revolution, talks about AI and data. And that's the battlefield right now. So he said essentially every business is here, and then once a shift like this happens, the business or the industry will go here, here, or here. And he goes, and we are like right here on that track right now. The last gazillion years we've been just chugging along. And so essentially he said the agents used to exist by themselves, right? And then over here was technology companies. Neither of these will survive by themselves. And you will either be the tech-enabled agent or the agents enabling the techs. These will be the two types of people in this real estate industry. And so everything he's doing right now is a goal to give you guys, the agents, the technology you need to go compete with this technology. Does it make sense? So everything we're seeing right now is so we can go out and compete with that technology. Because at the end, in companies like this, it's already out there. Who is this? Redfin, right? Zillow, they're hiring the agents to go work for these tech companies. Open Door, right? And we're seeing it. And some agents are working with them already, and the agents are kind of over here, yet they're not enabling this, they're going over here. And so the most recent kind of parallel that comes to my mind is taxi driving. Right? Uber versus Yellow Cab. Let's just use that as a scenario. Here's Yellow Cab, here's all the drivers for Yellow Cab, and then this happens. Okay, so it's gonna go here, here, or here. And so Mariana used to work for Yellow Cab. Do you guys think, no, she didn't really, I was using
One job I didn't have.
That's the role play. And then I stopped, because that's realistically. Do you guys believe that there's any Yellow Cab drivers who no longer drive for Yellow Cab, now just drive Uber?
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of them are like, this is no longer working. Let's just call this driver now, right? This is no longer working, so I'm going to go be the driver that enables Uber. You follow? Now, realistically, there is a shift happening that the Yellow Cab, if you're watching, is just thought. There's no research on this. Could they have had some technology that could have helped them compete? I think they have an app, don't they? Yellow Cab had an app once upon a time?
You would like to think. If not, then shame on them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could just go Yellow Cab and be like, find a cab, and then you call them or something along that line. So they had some technology that was enabling Yellow Cab. So what was the biggest difference of why Uber beat Yellow Cab?
Marketing.
Who said that? So marketing, what about it?
Uber just made it very visible and easy to use. They targeted the youth first because they knew that they were the most tech savvy out there to want to use it.
Okay.
And another big thing is that you didn't have to be licensed. As a,
Yeah. As a
something
commercial,
like that.
yes, you're right.
Any person could do it.
Anybody can do it.
High level of transparency on the cost too, before you request what the cost is going to be.
So
Experience.
that's the difference, the experience. That's the difference between the driver's side and we're talking two sides of the table here.
True.
The driver's side versus the customer side.
I want to talk customer.
Yeah.
Because the customers choose who wins.
Experience is a lot. The connotation of getting in an Uber was very, very modern and very trendy and all that. I Ubered, I didn't haul a cab.
Yeah, when
1987.
your company becomes a verb, you know you've done well.
Exactly.
Like Google and Uber,
Right.
And we say Tiffany. Tiffany's now a verb.
She is.
Tiffany is everything.
She is.
And
Hi,
Uber-
Tiff.
And Uber became worldwide. I mean, it's not just like Yellow Cab in the city where you can go certain places. Uber, you go to a different country, you go to Uber, like in Brazil. You can call it Uber in Brazil.
Even now their
Same app and
marketing
everything.
is changing. They know they made mistakes and they're admitting it on these commercials and revolutionizing their image, which wasn't even that horrible.
No.
I had internal issues.
Publicly is making mistakes.
I think with Yellow Cab, it was a lot of individuals. Like there wasn't really much, there was a lot of different companies where Uber is one company that just made it big.
So this is interesting, that's a really good point. Here is drivers enabling Uber versus drivers, right? And so what is what's great about this versus this?
When you have the brand itself as a bigger company, the process should be the same all throughout. The fares should be pretty much similar all throughout. The experience should be the same. They kind of made it to where you should have the same experience almost. And you use
I
the
think
same-
Yellow Cab was pretty consistent. I kind of knew what I was getting into when I got into a cab. You pop it in. If I had one person versus 4 people, they'd give you a base price higher or lower. You'd start with $250. As I drove or as I sit, I just watch that little thing on my front dashboard go click, 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 click. I'm like, oh, stop driving. Hurry up, light, go.
Right.
Right? I think that's now if I'm in New York or if I'm in Idaho, it's going to be different fares.
Well, even on Uber,
If it's at 3 a.m. or if it's at rush hour or 7:30 a.m., there's different fares. That's the same thing with Uber. So I think they still had a company. They still had Yellow Cab was still going, you're an independent contractor. You're going to drive for me, Yellow Cab. You can buy your car. You can rent your car. You will make it look like Yellow Cab. You will charge the fares within a range, and yet you kind of have some choice of when you're on or when you're off. That's kind of a realtor, right?
I thought
You can
Yellow
choose when
Cab-
you pick your phone up or when you don't.
I
Yeah.
thought Yellow Cab was unionized, and to me, that was a huge difference.
Okay.
Yellow
so-
Cab owned their own cars. What it did is what Amazon did to retail. They took the brick and mortar out, and Uber took the capital cost of cars out.
So we're going to talk about the cost, right? Because that's something you guys actually didn't talk about here. It's cheaper, isn't it?
Yep. There's also more options. There's different classes, and you can also do the ride pool now too.
So they cater to their clientele.
Well, I'm talking about the money, you can put 4 people in an Uber, or you can put 1 person in an Uber, and it's the same amount. As opposed to the per person difference with a regular traditional cab.
So let's yeah.
I was gonna say, I think cost was number one, because I remember when Uber was first coming out, I was in Rhode Island and it was a trade show and they were out there trying to drum up some brand recognition, and I was sort of going, you just get in a stranger's car? No way is this gonna work.
Yeah.
And then when the cost came out, you said, wow, this is that much cheaper than a taxi, I'll give it a shot. I mean, the cost ultimately is what drove the consumer. Because if it was the same or more expensive, people are gonna go with what they know. But when you're that much less than what I already know, I'm willing to give you a chance.
The cost, the convenience, and with it, that red flag that everybody had, the reviews.
Yeah.
Because then all of a sudden you're going 5-star, 5-star. Okay. They seem like they're normal humans who won't put me on the side of the road and gut me. Okay, I'm going to get in their car.
I would tease them and say, aren't you worried? Because like for time after time, I kept getting in there. It was like, oh, this is my first time. And I'm like, really? Aren't you worried about
Picking up
total
strangers.
And-
It's legalized hitchhiking, right?
Yeah.
It's true.
With the Yellow Cab, you had to buy a medallion. So you starting out, you were crossing, right? You were in the hole, so you had to have higher fears.
Yeah, so that was, I guess, ease of entry. Ease
Well, they
to,
restricted the market that way, right? I mean, who could enter
Well,
from a
and how many people do you know that, like, you know what, I need some extra income, I think I'm going to go drive for Yellow Cab. Versus I need some extra income, I think I'm going to go drive for Uber. It's like, now the soccer mom or the guy who's looking to just do some, they can just do it like 3 hours a week. I'll go drive once when I'm bored and lonely. I'll click on my Uber.
Many people don't go out of the way. For example, let's say I go every day from here to the airport.
Right.
So during that time, I'll pick people up.
Yeah,
Yep.
you do have control.
Yeah, you have control on your hours.
So you have control of the hours.
Well, I just knew when we first used Uber, it was availability. There weren't cabs in that area.
Convenience.
Right.
So.
Yep. I remember who remembers their first Uber experience, or the first time you heard about Uber? So I was in Austin, and Uber was in Austin before it was in Florida. And I had, because I go to Austin 4 or 5 times a year, at least I did back then, I had a guy, and he was a cab driver, and he had a Suburban, so he's kind of that higher class. But I was able to call him and be like, hey, my flight lands here, come get me. And he was a very competitive fare with this. I had to go wait in line. And I was talking to him one time from the airport to the hotel. He says, yeah, there's a new company called Uber and it's really affecting business. Like, what is that? And that was him going, something's happening. I think it's going to shift my world. I've got to be prepared for it because I'm starting to see it a little bit. He worked off of regulars. He worked off of hotel concierge. So he never kind of waited in line for strangers. He always said, come get me, come get me, come get me. And I'm saying this out loud. I haven't used it for 2 years because that's what I started doing in Austin. Ubering. Because it was as convenient. What's that? Did they stop it?
I think
Okay.
I read they stopped it.
Okay. Yeah, this was probably 2013, 14, when Uber was I had never heard of it. Yeah.
And the other thing, which I noticed, with Uber, you have to have a newer car. You can't drive anything old.
No,
Yes,
that's-
sir. I know.
And I've
has to
been
be
in
less
some
than 10.
really rough-looking cabs.
So they also have quality assurance, right? They still have standards. And this might be, so let's stop this conversation and shift it back to agent, can we? Because we are where that guy was when he said, something's coming.
Yeah, but you just scared me by saying after 2 years of having the same guy, you're like, done, so.
Well, you know what? He didn't lead gen to me. If I used him 3 and 4 times a year and he saw me every September and every July, and he didn't say, hey, Rick, and I'll stay in contact with you, and when's your next flight? Now, if he would have said, hey, Rick, September you should have a flight coming in, right? That's kind of your MO. I'm ready to pick you up. I'm like, sweet, thanks for the call.
Yeah,
I would have absolutely said yes. But he kept making me go find him.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Because that's what they're used to.
Right. Because they were the only option.
Historically, right.
And
That's
if I
historically how
had
it
a
works.
great, if I had a great Uber driver and I could just call him personally and just say, hey, come pick me up, take me here, and I'll pay that same fare, I would just do that instead of pushing that. I mean,
Yep.
but you can't, so.
So I remember, we go downtown, somebody's getting a state driver, and gosh, I forget his name now. This is back when I was like in between college, but not quite ready to grow up yet. I graduated, but I still want to be young. Anyone experience that? Maybe still aren't? No? And he had a 15-passenger van, and it was, like you said, it was not a great van. And he gave us all motion sickness because he was a 2-foot driver. And we'd be in the back of this 50-passenger van like this.
Oh my God.
But you know what? Every time I wanted to go out with some friends and there was more than 6 or 7 of us, we call him.
Yeah.
And he was our guy because he was cheap, he was available, and he'd be like, motion sickness, all right, let's go have fun. And then we stopped because the convenience wasn't all that there because you still had to go find him. And now we can be like, Uber, click.
You wanted a bit
As
of
a group-
experience.
Maybe, not really, I didn't care about experience then.
To an extent you did. You said, I'm done puking, so let's get in something where I'm not gonna puke the whole
I
ride.
guess, it was a factor, it wasn't a deciding.
Yes.
I was a groomsman in a wedding, and the hotel was 1.5 miles from the venue. This was last year, and everyone pulled out, who's got Uber? And you know what, we're all in tuxes, let's do the cool ones. And for 1.5 miles, I paid an extra like $9 to be in an Infinity versus a Camry. And I was like, yeah, cool, pick me up, man. And then we sat there and did it. So we are here, and so let's talk about this. The shift is coming to the Uber shift. So that's what we're here for. We're talking about, let's not be the ones go, had Yellow Cab gotten the same technology that said, now you can also click me at a button. There's plenty of yellow cabs everywhere that you'll never have to wait more than 5 minutes. And we are going to also compete with the cost. And we're going to make sure all of our drivers have a review. We're going to make sure everyone has a standard of the quality of the car. They've got to get it checked out every 90 days. They might have kept market share. Because when the game started, who had market share?
They did.
They did.
They
They were the only option, and there's also little micro spots.
They allowed Uber to.
Blockbuster had market share when the game started. They didn't evolve. They didn't go, wait a minute, this is coming and consumers like it better because of this. What are we going to do so that because we already have the head start, right? This is what Gary's talking about right now is going, this is Gary now, am going to be a technology company to make sure our agents are equipped with this. Because we don't want to be the ones going, shut, you didn't see that happen, right? You had a thought, someone had a hand
Well,
up.
I did, but you might be going there, so I didn't wanna.
Go ahead. I don't know where I'm going, I just gotta talk.
Well, what was encouraging in the interview was Gary was telling it, to build the platform that we already have is a 2-year commitment, and everybody else is behind us, they haven't started yet.
Right.
So to me, that was the most encouraging part of that little dot there on that scale.
Staying ahead of the curve.
Yeah, if these are little 6-month lines,
Right.
he started doing this when we were about right here. And that's where he's like, no, we're getting there. Who here, Keller agent, we have some guests, Kelly app, right? And she just posted, I'm pointing to the tab with it, posted an article that said 50 things Kelly can do right now. And every day Kelly's getting smarter, and you can say, oh snap, has anyone done oh snap yet with Kelly?
Tried.
That's pretty, you try, okay, so we gotta work on that.
Update it.
It's updates, you gotta go in the store and update.
Yeah, I didn't.
So there's the Profit Share Mastermind on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you're a part of it, Josh Team is also a part of it. You guys know who Josh Team is? Josh Team is the Chief Technology Officer, whatever his role is, but he's the guy leading the technology brigade at KWRI. And so I've seen people just tag Josh Team as part of the group, and he's replying. So if you want access to the guy, join that group and ask him some things there. Because that's where I saw someone go, here, go troubleshoot back. If you go, oh, snap, it does a snap market snapshot. And wherever you're standing, it gives you the market snapshot for that area. And right now, it's pretty broad stroke, right? Their goal is that you can say, market snapshot 1 to Main Street, and it'll give you a CMA. So right now, if you open up Kelly, who's got it open right now?
I did it for a reload and gave me an average of 348.
I didn't do the update.
Well, it's got comps. How does Kelly work? If Kelly's giving you data right now, I just said it. You literally have AI using data to enable technology for our agents to give people's estimates. Isn't it kind of there? Oh, snap is just his estimate. Top producer market snapshot, isn't that what that is? It's estimate. It's like here's what the computer told me your house is worth. Is essentially what it is, based on the data that we have. And so if you open up Kelly and you go to the bottom right, you should see some lines or some dots. You see like a menu thing that would be, and it opens up to. May I see yours, Marianne? Not there. So you opened up. I pick on your phone. Yeah. All phones. I chose like the iPhone 5.
Mariana.
All right, so it's not there. I'm gonna use an adult one. iPhone tablet.
Oh.
Aww.
Opa. All right. And I just learned this last night, which is pretty cool, and it's not there yet. Please hold.
Does it consider?
Everyone's on it right now. So as you pull it up, I was able to click GPS, and it took the house I was in, or the closest to it, and said, here's the house.
No.
And then you scroll to the bottom and say, here's some comparables to that house.
Wow, cool.
Now it's using data of what's recently sold or pending. So you can look where you're at right now. You can see some red dots of what's sold or pending. Click on one of those red dots and say, this one sold for this in this many days at this price. Here's some comps for this right now. You can ask Kelly profit share. Have you done it, Stephanie?
No, I just saw it.
So you can profit share, and she's going to tell you, here's your profit share. So what is it doing? We have data. We have Winmore. We have multi-year trends. It's just going, now you have it at your fingertips.
Right, which is good for me.
We have cars. We have people who need rides who don't have vehicles. Now they can get rides at their fingertips. Right? You mentioned marketing, target marketing. So I guess that would be smart, Johnny, because you said Uber went after people who were
Tech savvy, because they were
app friendly,
app friendly, yeah.
aren't scared of hitchhiking, right?
Right.
Does this apply to us?
It
How
does.
does that apply to real estate? Target market.
Farming.
I guess I guess it's farming and database, right?
Focus, yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that everybody wants this. Everybody wants to be able to use it anywhere, have an amazing experience, make sure it's high quality, easy access, easy to use, and I guess that's the person. Transparency, what am I going to pay? What we mentioned with Yellow Cab is even if they had the app, the convenience, the access, they still are more expensive, aren't they? Ed?
I know I'm probably thinking of it. Having the app still would probably would take a little longer for a company like yours to come on board and beat them. Because one major thing too, they were limited because you had to have a cab yellow. You had to pay a medallion. And that is big hurdles that will limit their growth. Versus you using your car and not paying anything. It's, hey, I want to be a Uber driver.
So it's interesting. I love where this is going because I'm thinking now. When we go to ESO, which is expansion, they talk about using the Starbucks model. That the old mantra of Starbucks, you can find them where?
Everywhere.
On every corner. And so the Starbucks model says we have outgrown capacity for this location. We have not outgrown capacity for this market. People aren't going to wait 20 minutes in line for a Starbucks, but they'll go drive a mile down the road to another Starbucks. And so they had to almost just divide and conquer. That's the expansion model. So I'm curious, was Yellow Cab meeting the market demands? Because how many people Uber way more often than you ever Yellow Cabbed?
Never Yellow Cabbed.
Never Yellow Cabbed.
Once.
As a consumer, I don't feel like I'm able to relate with Yellow Cab. So maybe it's a generational thing, but I've probably taken 2 or 3 cab rides in my life.
Yeah.
And all I remember are 5 or 6 packs of cigarettes in the driver's door. And it reeked and it smelled and it wasn't comfortable. When you're getting into an Uber, you're used to riding in a regular car.
Mhm.
It's very comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's someone's personal car too. It's not a cab.
Yeah.
They just use for work. I don't know if they drive cabs around. If they're not working.
Car used by multiple drivers.
Yeah, it's kind of like a school bus, right? Check in, check out. You number 1, 2, 3, 4.
I use one if I'm in New York, because it's just right.
Because they're everywhere, right? And so the market is there.
Yeah.
And so the
But New York's
convenience in
super
New York is easy to go, I can't do it, but and then they're here, first night. Keep it going, Yellow. I was in D.C. and Uber, did you guys know there's like 7 Smithsonians in D.C.?
Yeah.
I learned that. I thought there was one.
Nope.
So I said, I'm going to the Smithsonian for a convention retreat thing, please. And he's like, okay. No, he didn't say which one. He's like, okay. He's like, this is it. I was like, got them early. Okay. So I went in and there's a sharp-dressed guy, and he's got a clipboard. He's like, I'm here for the Mastery retreat. He's like, oh, no, that's not here. He's like, no, it's at the Smithsonian. Here's the email. He's like, you're at the wrong Smithsonian. It's about 1.5 miles away. I turn around, my Uber's gone. I'm like, ah. It's like, all right, I'm going to just hail a cab. And then I'm like running after cabs. Like, and I ended up running to these new Smithsonian the whole time. In New York, I could have been like, there.
Yeah.
At this time in D.C., I was like, please, someone pick me up. And I did an Uber again because I was like, I just paid Uber. I don't want to go pay him. But I guess it would have been cheaper than the Yellow Cab anyway. Yeah, John.
I think one of the things is that, so in order to get a Yellow Cab, you gotta pick up your phone, find the number, call them, give them your address, and they come and pick you up.
Right.
Where Uber just made it like super easy. Just open the app, look at the map, shop the
Yellow Cab never went from here to here.
Yeah, so I mean,
They could have very easily hired a Silicon Valley tech writer and going, I need to do this. I need the customers to be able to, because what's the Uber competitor? Lyft. Lyft did it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we want to do what Uber's doing and just be the second. Because there's probably 2 in every market that will do well. We call them iPhone or Apple and Droid, right?
Right.
What happened to BlackBerry and all the others? There's two in the market that will. So Lyft's like, hey, no one else is here. Dibs, I'm in.
Well, one thing that happens to most companies is that they're comfortable, they're used to their model, they have way too much invested. To make those changes, it hurts. You know, I lived in a company that made changes and tried to make changes, and I'm telling you, it hurts. Because you don't want to lower your income.
So let's touch
That's
on
major
that.
hurdles versus a new company coming in, they pretty much, they can do anything they want.
But to also respond to that is the fact that we don't have it, is you have to answer to your investors.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, that's usually
But no,
the
but I'm
slow
telling you,
curve,
even private
and why
companies.
people don't change so, businesses don't change so quickly.
Because they have a board of directors.
True,
So-
well,
so-
public companies, it's true, private companies
Yeah.
hurts more, but even private companies, the company I was private at one time, it hurts because they don't want to change, because they have to get, instead of making all this money, they're gonna have to cut it to this for 3 years, and they just don't want to do it.
Who's read this book? How the Mighty Fall.
It's called that, so.
I think it is called. Full disclosure, I don't read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of interviews by the authors. So like when I Cliff Note books, I heard it's about. And so How the Mighty Fall is a guy who just studied these giant companies who fell. The Kmart's, the Blockbusters, the what? Sears, right? And so he said it comes down to just a core couple of factors. One is the sacred cow. This is how we do it. This is how we're going to do it. We're not going to change. This is our model. It's worked for us. The sacred cows. We're not going to change, right? You can't have sacred cows. Huber's born success, or the ego, says, you know what? Come and get me. Someone else like, I'm on top of my game. Come and get me. And not willing to be a disruptor was a third one. And so we talk about disruptor. All of these things are what consumers are demanding of every industry, isn't it?
For sure.
And the disruptors are the first businesses to deliver. There's the gap. Consumers want this. The market is here. The first one to deliver is the disruptor. And that's where we are being the disruptor, because we're going to be the first. We're going to be the first one of these to deliver. You guys are going to be the first agents to offer this and be a full-service realtor that still shows up at your dining room table and shakes your hand and invites you to a client appreciation party. Because I don't see the tech companies throwing client appreciation parties.
No.
I don't see them taking them to dinner out of closing. I don't see them truly caring about and going to
I mean, this is
the.
what Keller said, if they can't, they could, they would take the agents out.
That's their goal. Is it Uber's goal to have a driver?
No, driverless cars.
I mean,
They
well,
tried that. That didn't work so well.
Well, yeah,
Well, why not?
The driverless car?
Yeah.
I think we all know how that.
How did it work out?
Fatality. That's
Okay.
a problem.
well,
Every day, drivers kill people.
right,
One driverless car does it. It's like, it's not going to work.
right.
Right?
As a matter of fact,
And so the standards are a lot higher, but every day we allow human error. Yet, it's going to get there.
the manufacturers are trying to make the car.
I can promise you they did not throw in the towel in the driverless car project.
No, they didn't. They definitely took a step back, though.
Yeah.
Rick, what was the second one? I got the sacred cow and not willing.
The ego, the humor's born success, and then not willing to be a disruptor. Anyone watch Silicon Valley? That's a fun one.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know and you want just some simple laugh, it's an HBO 30-minute sitcom about Silicon Valley tech people creating the new tech world. And it's funny because the guy gets into a driverless car, and then it goes, and then it shuts down and breaks, and ends up he gets shipped to like a remote island, and he can't get out of his car. Very funny. So there's still glitches.
Yeah.
Yet in technology, they say if you wait until it's perfect, then you're way far. Is Kelly perfect?
No.
Heck no. If we would have waited till it was, by the time we thought it was perfect, you guys would have broke it again.
Well, I'm guilty of falling in, because like I'm old school and I'm very personal, hands-on, like I have to be in front of a person, so like I hated texting. Like I was just so against it, and now I love it, like I couldn't live without it. It's such an easy way to communicate, so I'm having to embrace the technology.
And that was here
Yeah.
because many of us in this room, not all of us, remember then when you did not have a cell phone.
Yeah.
right?
Most of us, you have all of us.
Some of us are like, what's that? What is this cord attached to this cell phone? I don't understand.
The cell phone is this big.
And now we can't live without it. Now it's like, I wake up like, ah,
Yeah, you fall asleep with it.
right?
With it, yeah.
And now, and so when my 3-year-old knows how to
Right.
push the button, and my 6-year-old niece actually can navigate and close and open apps and download things, like it.
Oh, and wait for,
There's certain 70-year-olds who can't do that.
and wait for your kid to get in front of a screen that doesn't move.
Yeah, they're gonna
I've
punch a
seen
hole
that
through the
on a
screen.
plane.
Like, do you guys think I've got a 0, 1, 2-year-old? Do you guys think they'll ever drive a car?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know.
Good
That's a
question.
good thought.
I hope so.
Yes, I don't know.
I think
I think you're always
yes.
gonna learn how to drive a car, but it's whether the car, it's gonna be the same situation. Is it gonna be tech enabled and driver, or are you gonna be a driver that has tech?
At this point, I think they'll learn to drive it, it's just whether or not it's going to be their only way of getting around.
Maybe.
Right now, the
I don't think I'd be surprised if never. So let me ask you this question:
Because that's not.
how many 20-year-olds are in the room right now? In their 20s?
Then I'll change the tire.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4. Of the 4 of you, and I don't know the answer. Do you guys know how to drive stick shift?
No.
Yeah.
You do?
Hey, I'm 52.
You do,
I don't
you do
know.
not?
20.
You know how? All right, so 50%. Everyone 30 or older, how many of you guys know how to drive stick shift? So it went from about 90% 30 and older to 50%
Yes, I do.
29. And I think that's going to be how I drive it. Because for me, driving is almost be like, but how are you going to tow your boat? Or your camper? But maybe the driverless towboater will do that. We don't know.
Exactly.
Because what's going to happen over the next several years
It's gonna shift and it's.
is this is going to go in here. And it's going to be like, oh, I gotta tow my own camper. Yeah. How do you work this thing again?
There's a manufacturer making a car without a wheel, which I think is a huge mistake.
A car without a wheel?
Without the
A steering wheel.
steering wheel. So actually, it's like, you couldn't drive the car if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You're not in that car.
It's interesting to think of.
Another competitor said, we'll always let you drive the car, if you want to.
For now. Because people still want to hold on to that.
Yeah.
But my kids might not want to. They're like, why do I want to drive a car? You want to drive stick? You'll always be able to drive manual if you want to.
No desire.
She's like, why do I want to drive stick? I need my hand to text. I can't put it on.
It's not only that, a lot of manufacturers aren't even making the cars in stick anymore.
Well, I've thought about that. Of,
Corvettes and all, they all
it's
automatic.
insane. Like I love Jeep Wrangler. I had a Jeep Wrangler, and it was a stick shift.
Who does that?
And so I've toured the idea of buying like an old Jeep or some Jeep, and I see this beautiful Jeep, and I'm looking, it's like, okay, and automatic. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you?
Debbie Parrish, so they're working on a driverless boat.
The driverless what?
Boat.
So Debbie, who's the ski queen, is working on driverless boat. I actually already have it. So I drove her husband skiing, and he goes, just do this, and you can't go too fast or too slow. When you hear the beep, 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 stop. It's like, okay. He's like, hit it. And it's like, beep, 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 and it was a perfect pull. And all I had to do was like, before it used to be a real skill and finesse to drive a skier who was competitive, like, I got this. And that's a commodity. I had a unique value proposition. Like, I can drive you skiing pretty well. Now it's like, anyone can. Here, 3-year-old, here, Bradley, just push that button. And he can drive you skiing. So I don't believe it's far off because they're getting, isn't this just cars? Driverless cars are just AI? So I think the moral of the story as it pertains to you guys is, what can you do right now? What can you do right now so that when this fork in the road happens, you are already equipped and ready to set up there?
Embrace technology.
You need to embrace it, right? And that you guys are in this room, so I believe you are. Yet, what does that really mean to embrace technology?
Learn it.
You gotta learn it. You gotta break it. You gotta use it. You gotta share it. Oops. Just did that. So this becomes action item time, right? Of what are you gonna do in the next 7 days by the end of the month? This is what can I do to kind of make sure that I'm on the forefront of this. John Davis talks about we're on a wave. These are waves. Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, if you're in front of it, you get crushed by the wave. If you're behind it, you're never gonna catch up. The wave's gone. He said, we're on the wave right now, and the cool thing is this is where we're at right now. We're right on top of the wave. Just like Steve Jobs was always on top of the wave, wasn't it? Seth Campbell talked about this as well. If you want to be a real disruptor, if the market's calling for this, give them this. You think the market was calling for Uber?
No.
Yeah. Taxi just wasn't broken. It's just his way.
He
And
created-
then it showed up, and I go, that's cool.
Yeah.
And the market's like, yeah, I agree. That's what I want now. That's a lot of what we're focused on right now, is creating something. So how many of here have Netflix and Hulu versus cable? Someone does not have cable.
I do not have cable.
I have something.
You have some cable. And I have both because of just live sports. It's like this. $100 a month for live sports is ridiculous.
Right.
So it's about a third. About a third of the room has cut the cord for cable, yet it might have been unheard of even 5-6 years ago.
Saving so much money.
Because Netflix is just a little piece. When you watch Netflix or Hulu, you guys have the tab that says suggestions. Because you watched this,
Yes.
you'll probably like this. I love that one. Because I'm going, I love this movie, and I don't want to search through there. It's like, you tell me what I want to watch, Mr. Netflix. And usually they're pretty right.
Pretty right on.
Right? And so that's going to be something that we're going to see right now as consumers are looking at houses. Because you looked at this house, you'll probably like these houses.
Huh.
Because you looked at these houses, you probably like these houses. Does that make your website sticky? When I say sticky, it's like they stay there.
Yeah.
Because they just get in trend, they binge watch your website. If consumers going to go binge watch houses because we're able to have artificial intelligence based on what they've checked in, because right now it's going, I want criteria, this, show me. We're seeing a little bit with Auto Trader, right? Auto Trader used to be put in my criteria, here's your cars. Now it's like, we're going to find your car before you leave this website. We're going to try this one, try this one, try this one, try this one.
Delivering to you now.
What's that?
They're delivering cars to you now. You don't have to go to the dealership anymore.
Did you guys see the vending machine cars on
Carvana.
iPhone?
So cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. Does anyone know anyone who ever bought? If you go on I-4 and you see just this giant, like probably 8-story glass tower full of cars, it's a vending machine.
Oh, really?
Of course.
To buy or rent?
To buy.
Wow. Yeah. You go online, you do all the.
Credit card, $34,000.
Medallion.
Make your car.
Chuck Morris said the gap between software and AI is
You buy
cloud
it right away.
service.
And I think there's
Thank
a
you.
return policy.
Perfect.
Like 30
Chuck helped us out. You guys remember how I said, what was this one right here? Remember how I said it was hardware, software?
Right.
And there's a third one? Chuck Morris, coin credit, he said it's the cloud.
It's the cloud. Props, Chuck.
The cloud connects the AI data with the hardware, software. We kind of need it all, right? It's all going to be there. And so a lot of our technology right now is going to the cloud. I rarely use Excel now. I mainly use Google Sheets. Why? It's cloudy. Right? All right, so the other thing I mentioned with this, with the costs, is because the medallions, because the cars, because the yellow, because all those things that you had to accommodate, the affordability, the profitability still wasn't going to be there. Because they're going, I don't have to change a thing, I can charge 30% less. Game on. And so, what if, and this didn't happen, I don't know how it could, but anything can happen. If Yellow Cabs and go, we're not going to change that because that's just a cost. How can we drive cost down another way? What if we bought our own oil or gas station so all of our drivers could fill up gas wholesale? Therefore, they can actually go drive their prices down but not affect their profit margin. Something like that, right? And that could have been a way that they say, driver, I don't want you to earn less. Yeah, we've got to figure out a way the consumer pays less. You guys follow?
Yeah, smart business is what it is.
So we've got to figure it out. And maybe a way is we can go buy this gas station. The gas station will almost be just a commodity for my drivers. It will not be a profit margin in itself. What does that sound like? Sounds like Keller Mortgage.
Yeah.
It's like
Follow?
Costco.
Because are these tech companies challenging to be cheaper than traditional realtors?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And the consumer's going, I can do it here for cheaper, or I can do it for you for premium. And so the agent will be forced to just charge less and profit less because their cost stays the same. And if they don't evolve, Uber's born success, willing to be a disruptor and evolve, then they will be slowly squeezed out because the customer will have a better experience at a cheaper cost. And so that's what Gary Keller says. We've got to figure out how to offer our agents the commodities to still give our clients and consumers a lower cost without taking out of the pockets of my agents. So at Keller Mortgage, if you are a Keller Williams agent and your clients can use Keller Mortgage, sorry movement, Patrick. Hopefully you guys will shift with us, right? I'm just at the top. I'm just Gary. Like, here we go. And he's going, the consumer now will get $1,000 paid to them with zero closing costs. They'll actually get paid to use Keller Mortgage. And so what's a mortgage, how many points right now on a mortgage would a buyer pay? Maybe 1%, 1.5%? So $250 loan, they're going to pay $2,500 to $3,000. Right? Ish? Now they'll actually make money, which means the agent can charge a premium still. The consumer walks out with a net even, and the agent walks out with a net even.
Then the consumer got the experience that they wouldn't have otherwise received.
So long as we can keep the quality assurance up and our technology, and they've got the instantaneous, they've got all those neat features and apps and convenience and visibility and transparency, they know exactly what's happening, then yeah. As long as all this can stay happening, because at the end of the day, price is only a problem in the absence of value. If I've got a TV right now, anyone in the market to buy a TV right now? No one's in the market to buy a TV. So there's a sale right now at Best Buy. I don't know if you saw it. It's like 70-inch TVs for $49.
What?
Who wants one?
Now I want a TV.
Who wants one?
I do.
Yeah.
So no one's in the market yet. When the price was right, you're like, "Who I want it now?" That's not really true. They're not selling $50 70-inch TVs.
I love Lee Brown.
Let down.
The moral of the story, though, is there's always a consumer when the price is right. That's why Black Friday is Black Friday.
Right.
I agree with that, but we're just in our generation, millennial generation, we are, I guess it's every generation now, but we're just so used to financing everything. There's no sense of saving money because I can go buy a TV for $30 a month for the next 2 years.
Don't you?
That's a whole different topic, man.
There's no, it is, but it isn't. There's overlap, but.
There's absolutely overlap. So, and this showed up recently. My buddy just moved to Tacoma, Washington. So he just sold his life, and he sold his truck. And it was 2006, the original owned, pretty good condition, like 130,000 miles. So it is a Silverado. I'm like, this is the 16 or 17-year-old's truck. Like, this is the one I would have wanted when I started driving. This is a full-size truck, still good there, and not a single person even bid on it for like $5,000. He ended up going to We Buy Any Car for $3,500.
Wow.
And I shared it on Facebook, and he got nothing. And I'm going, how? Why? And I'm going, because if someone has $5,000 nowadays, they're going to go to the dealership and go, I got $5,000 down,
Right.
and I can afford $300 a month. That's what the consumers are doing now. It's normal. If you don't have a car payment, you're kind of weird.
But it's just like tacking on to.
Me too. I love being weird. She said she's weird. But you're absolutely right about society. So how does that play into this, Joe?
I think we're just entitled to convenience.
And the instant gratification mentality.
Yeah, on demand.
Yeah.
That's
On
the
demand.
biggest thing.
We're in an on-demand society. I want it now. I might throw an adult temper tantrum if I don't get it now.
So there's just no concept, there's less concept of money than there probably used to be, like when you had to save for a car. You don't really have to save for a car, you don't have to save for anything.
Yeah, furniture, 0% in 5 years.
Yeah.
If you don't pay it off in 5 years, I will charge you 80% prorated.
Well, you're paying the interest in the 5 years anyway, they just don't include it.
They screen it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you go to a dealership, it's 0% or $5,000 down. Either way, we're gonna give you $5,000 off on the front end or the back end. You know you can't go to a Verizon or AT&T now and actually buy a phone outright?
Right.
My father-in-law went in because he's got one like Mariana's. And he can't see the maps, and he's taking a road trip. He's like, I need one of the iPhone tablets. So he went in, he's like, I would like to buy one, please. I said, no, it's a $30 a month payment. He's like, I don't want to do that.
See, that's a big gimmick.
That's the only way you can do it.
That's the big
And they
gimmick.
said, but it's the same exact money. It's just $30 a month for 30 months. Math majors, what is that? 900. But he's like, but this says $819 right now. So no, you charge me $80, but it's worth it. Why? Because most people who want this cannot stroke an $800 check.
Right.
But they can stroke a $30 check 30 times.
Now, the main reason they did that is that they eliminated the contracts with the phone company.
Okay?
So now they get you the phone, so if you want to break the phone, I mean, if you contracted with them, you have no contract, but you have your phone, and you say, I don't want you anymore, take my phone down in full.
Right.
So they got you on the contract and
The catch is,
like hidden.
my thought, it's like, I paid it off because like, I don't want to pay. So I found a company that would let me buy a phone.
I went to Apple phone.
You go to Apple. I use a company called Wing. There's a shout out for Wing. Sponsor. If I break this, it's mine. I broke it. I go buy a new one. If I pull out my drawer and go pull out my Mariana phone.
You won't live it down.
All right, that does it.
You have to get a new phone.
If you're renting one and it's month 4 and you break it, you gotta go buy a new one and pay it off.
Yes,
Right.
yeah, you.
So, but you're right, Joey. That's what we're up against with the shift is also the consumer's demands.
But if we don't get the word out that we have these, then they're just gonna find somebody else that, is more convenient. So, I mean, we have all these great tools, but if us as agents
Can't be a
don't
secret.
spread the word and tell our, consumers, hey, look, all this stuff that we're offering, and share it with other agents that are in other companies that don't, then we're just hurting ourselves and we're not gonna be able to share the market.
Goes into embracing
Because
it.
we're chopping ourselves off the knees and collecting more
Right.
data. The more data we have, the smarter we are. The smarter you are, the more equipped you are to go thrive, right? And so, had that Austin taxi driver called me and said, hey, Rick, I haven't seen you in about 6 months. It's not like you. You're here about every 3 to 4 months. Did you stop coming to Austin? What's going on? I was like, oh, sorry, dude, I'm using Uber. He's like, well, I want to let you know now, we also have the same technology fees as Uber. And I would love to still earn your business. I'd go, hot dog, man, I'm in. Way to go.
Yeah.
Because you matched me. Why? The reason I left you just matched me.
Right.
And so the old script with our database or with might be, hey, Debbie, this is Rick, and I was just curious if you had a question about real estate, where would you go to? Who's your go-to expert or source for advice? And it used to be other humans.
Right.
Now it's
Google.
not so much anymore, right? And so what about that company makes them the expert in your eyes? And it's probably some of these things that show up. It's convenient, it's quick, it's on demand. And so what must you do now? You must intercept that and say, I'm quicker and more on demand. Monday through Friday, 8 to 6, don't come on the weekends. However, my website or my access or my tools are on demand.
It would be fantastic if Kelly could be somewhat linked to, like how we have our KW app, if Kelly could be linked to us to pass out to consumers as a Zillow kind of
It's your
thing.
KW
That's a
app.
great idea.
I can almost promise you it's coming.
Yeah.
I can promise you it's coming because the Gary Keller interview, he said, by the end of the year, because I think he mentioned E-Edge in that interview, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he kind of says like, it's kind of here-ish, right? Because by the end of the year, this one's going to be fun.
KW.
Because it's somewhat a challenge right now because you guys or we are excited about a vision, not a thing. Like we're getting more excited because things are coming. We're excited about what's been promised to come the last 2.5 years.
That's why I haven't shared it, because I feel like it's not, I want to show another agent something that's not really
Tell them it's broken.
performing. Yeah, but.
Say, hey, check this
I
out. This is beta testing right
Cool.
now.
I'm thinking of one in particular who's already resistant. So anyway, So I'd rather show her a more active.
Well, if you talk about agent to agent,
It's way
right?
better than it was 2 months ago.
Well, and you already have more than they have.
Right.
If you have one and they have zero, you have more than they have.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If you're talking agent to agent, because right now I want to talk to you guys about agent to consumer, agent to buyer and seller. Agent to agent is the old adage like my dad can beat up your dad. Right? It's kind of what you're doing. My Kelly can beat up your Kelly. Where's your Coldy or your Waddy or your Reemy? See what I did there? Right? Well, that's kind of like, we're not going to do that, but it almost goes, hey, this technology thing is coming. Game of Thrones, winter is coming. Right? And we're storing our acorns, and here's my acorn. Where's your acorn? Let me see your acorn. You're like, I don't have an acorn. You're not preparing for winter? What? Because that's the truth. And now we don't have to prepare for winter because we've got a company that's preparing for winter for us. And part of that 6% royalties is funding that winter. And someone mentioned public versus private.
Yeah, we did.
We're the largest, most productive company in the world and the only privately held. So when Gary Keller decides to go put $1 billion in technology, who's he have to answer to? His bank account.
Us.
Right? Us. Be realistically us. Which is why it's slow trip. Everyone else says, hey, I would like to shift and evolve and go hire all sorts of tech writers and go invest $1 billion in the next 2 years in technology. They're going, that's going to kill our profit margin. Don't do that. And all of a sudden now they're handcuffed. So being privately owned and held is a huge benefit and plus for that. This is fun for me. Shifts are good. You guys know what happened in the last shift? Who's around the last shift? Who survived? Who's my survivor? You were a survivor? So, you were a survivor? Market shift.
Yeah.
So, Brittany, you
I
were...
transitioned, actually. I was on the construction side doing REO.
That's right. So, kind of give us that. So, I'm going to repeat what you say for the people here. So, you were REO. You're a general contractor.
Mm-hmm.
And during what years?
Gosh, what year is it now?
It's
2005.
2018.
Yeah, I'd say 2006
Okay.
to 2012.
Okay, would we agree that she experienced a shift going up and a shift going down?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. And what did you do in those 7 years?
Worked my ass off.
Being recorded. She the tushy off.
Rode the wave. I mean, that's the best way to put it, is you really had to be on top of everything because everything was constantly evolving and changing every day.
You said you oversaw 5,000 flips in those 7 years, right?
Yeah, not necessarily flips, but renovations or rehabs of homes that were either REO, bank owned, or owned by institutional investors. So they were transitioned over rentals.
Yeah. So you're experiencing another side of the industry, not in the realtor seat, yet you saw that wave, you saw the crash, and during the crash, as someone who renovated REOs, did her business go up or down?
Down. Well, up.
Someone who renovated it,
And then down, yep.
opportunity came up. If you're a short sale negotiator specialist, how was your business back in 2009, 10, 11, 12?
Great.
Pretty good. How's your business now if you've never changed your skill set?
Pretty
Pretty good right
It's
now.
pretty dread, right? So the shift will always weed people out and give a new opportunity for those who are in. And NAR, during that shift, National Association of Realtors lost 1/3 of their membership because 1/3 of realtors went, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I don't know how to do this. I'm out. And then, so it leaves 2/3 of the realtors remaining, and those 2/3 who shifted and evolved, some were very, very profitable. Some of those profitable realtors I know had their best years in the down market because they got in with banks.
Debbie Parrish said she went through 2 shifts.
2 shifts. So Debbie went through it's normal to pay 18% mortgage shift in the 80s,
Right.
right? Debbie did that also weed people out of NAR? So she'll respond there.
It's a little delayed.
Thoughts on that, Brittany?
Well, I have thoughts just on kind of the market shifting currently.
Okay.
And with major disruptors like Open Door catering to the on-demand society, allowing on-demand showings from buyers that aren't represented by buyer's agents. Do you feel that NAR and Supra and all the powers that be that have to work together are ever going to find a way to allow buyers to access homes electronically without having a realtor escorted, as long as they are registered.
100% yes. I believe it already happened in California, by the
Yeah,
way.
where they can go
Zillow is now a brokerage in
Zillow.
California.
Yeah.
And Zillow now you can just register here. Because if you would have asked me 10 years ago, do you ever think I can just walk into a stranger's car, push a button, not exchange cash, and they'll drive me where I want to go? Or do you ever think that we'd ever get to a point that I actually don't have to drive my car, I'll get in, put in a button, it'll drive for me? You ask my grandmother that? No, you're crazy, right? So 100% yes. And so that's what's going to compete. Because they're gone. The bubble here is not going away. We now have to coexist. What's going away are the two outskirts, the agent without it and the technology without it, the two that will thrive and survive. So if you are not an agent who's going to embrace and share and use this on-demand technology, then you will not be an agent. And the companies that are bolting on and borrowing and buying tech services for their agents, who are they buying it from? Their actual tech company whose goal is to put agents out of business. Taxi drivers driving for Uber is funding the company trying to put them out of business. Brokerages and agents paying for technology from these companies is funding the company trying to put them out of business.
So it's kind of like when we buy from Realtor.com or Zillow
You're
or.
funding the company trying to put you out of business. Absolutely. And we're at a spot right now that says kind of like, I can't just not because 90% of my agents' competitors are, and so now we've got to be able to add our own that can complement it without doing it. It's 9:06. I've taken 6 minutes of your time. Give me a couple ahas, goods, bads. If it's bad, keep it yourself. If it's good, let me hear about it. No, thoughts, ahas, takeaways from this morning's chat. It's a good turnout. Thanks for coming, guys. What's that?
I better get on it with all this tech stuff.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's systematized and, you know.
I'd say at minimum, everyone watch that Inman Gary Keller interview because that spawned a lot of this, and it'll put a little bow on it. What else?
Play with Kelly more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say more, Kelly. You're making her smarter, and you're making you smarter to be able to be there faster. Yep.
I changed my view on the shift, because I thought shift was going from sellers to buyers, buyers to sellers. But not quite. Shift is the change in the way you do business.
How consumers are doing it. That's the shift we're in, yeah. The cycle of buyer's market, seller's market, that's just the 7-year pendulum we're seeing. That's just, beep, beep, beep. The shift is like, whoa, game changer.
Well, any
That's a
shift in the marketplace, whether it's this technology or economy or whatever.
Yep.
We just have to keep ahead of it.
Always
Have to
stay ahead of
keep-
it, right?
We have to keep ahead of it.
Ride the wave.
We have.
Ride the
yeah,
wave, stay on top
on
of
the
it.
front of it, not on the back of it.
I saw a hand over here. No? No? Okay, so this is live stream. If you're not already following, just follow Keller Williams Oviedo Facebook. That way you can use this, share this, rewatch it. And then this will also be uploaded to our YouTube page. So if you want to go back and watch it or share it or embed it, do that sort of thing. So all this is there. I think we had 6 people. last
11.
time. 11! Woohoo! Hot dog. So, and it's not affecting our human turnout.
Right.
A scarcity, cheapers born success, says we can't go live. People will stop showing up in the market center.
They help
Let's
us
not
answer
change the
questions.
sacred cow, right? That was some of the naysayer we got. We're going, we've got to adapt because consumers, you guys, want to be able to watch it in your pajamas sometimes, or watch it again. So
Again.
watch it again. So, all right, this was fun. Cool.
Thank you.
I'll see you all next Wednesday for the next mastermind.
So now you know.